Hi, it's Lucky Robin, and I just picked up a case of apricots, and I'm going to make apricot jam and then can what's left over as just canned apricots. So I've got all of the good ones in here, and I've got the ones that I might be able to save a half off of in here. After watching your apricots, fill a container half full with water and add about a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Okay, I am not blanching and peeling my apricots because they're organic, but you may want to do that if you bought yours from a place that sprays. And then you put your halves into the lemon water, and the lemon prevents them from browning while you get through all of them. You can see they come apart real easy. The pit comes right out, and then into the water. So this shouldn't take long at all. Now, another reason people sometimes blanch and peel the apricots is with stone fruit, some people think that the skin adds a slight bitter taste to the finished product. So if you're just canning the apricots, you might consider using a heavier syrup to counteract that, or going ahead and peeling them. But it's very time consuming to peel all the apricots it takes. So, and I don't sense any bitterness at all, but it is something that will have to go to your taste. With the amount of sugar that's in apricot jam and jelly, I just don't see it as a big thing. And nectarines and peaches maybe more so, but I've never had a problem with apricots and keeping the skin on. Alright, I'll get back to you when I've got these done. So this batch of jam calls for 8 cups or 2 quarts of apricots. So I'm going to put them in here in my Vitamix blender bowl and see where we are. Eight is right here, and that's what we want. Okay, and this is one of my shortcuts of making jelly, is I blend it in the Vitamix or any good blender before I pour it in to be cooked. It saves a lot of time because you don't have to cook it down for so long. Alright, so put the lid on. There's enough juice in this to strip down to the bottom already that we don't need to add any water to get this started. So we're going to pulse. And this gives us, let's see, just under the 8 cups. So in these last few, and that should get us right to where we need to be. Then back on. And that gives us enough for the recipe. And you can see that it's almost completely pureed down, so this will not take long at all to do on the stove now. Alright, I'm going to start by taking this over to my tallest pot and pouring it in. And it may seem ridiculous right now to be using such a tall pot if you've never made jam or jelly before, but when it boils up, it boils up. So the taller the pot you have, the better, especially if you're doing a double batch like this. They don't recommend you ever do more than a double batch. So after you have your 8 cups of apricot juice, basically, you'll need a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 9 cups of sugar, and 1 package of pectin. You're going to add the lemon juice to the apricot juice. Alright, now we're going to take the package of pectin and put it in a bowl. We're going to take 1 cup of our sugar, and then we're just going to mix that up together. A lot of recipes tell you to just dump the pectin in, but pectin can clump. It can clump real bad, and sometimes you never get that clump out. So if you mix it in with the sugar, it doesn't clump. And just make sure it's well mixed. Okay, I put a pan on the back burner to boil some water, and then this water will be poured over our canning lids to scald them when it's done. Okay, I'm adding the sugar and pectin. And we're going to stir this in. And now we're going to turn the heat on to high and bring this to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, we'll be adding the rest of the sugar. Now while you're waiting to do this, or for this to boil, you want to have your water bath canner filled, and you want to have it starting to heat, so it'll be ready when you're ready. Alright, see that foam? If that's something you care about, you don't want foam on your jam or your jelly, you can put in a teaspoon of butter at this point, and that's supposed to take the foam away. My kids love the foam, so I usually just skim it off and put it on a plate, and they have it with crackers. Alright, and this is starting to boil. We want it to get a little more of a roll though to it, and then we'll add the rest of the sugar. And I know a total of 9 cups seems like an awful lot of sugar, but when you're making jelly, you do use a ton of sugar unless you get the low sugar fruit pectin. Okay, now we're at the rolling boil, so we're going to add the sugar. We're going to wait for this to come back up to a rolling boil. And then once it does that, we'll let it boil for 1 minute. And then we'll turn it off. Alright, so this has come to a rolling boil, so we're going to time it for 1 minute. But see how high it's coming up on the sides? It can come up as high as up to about there. So in a regular traditional pot that seemed like it would hold it all, this would be a major issue. It would boil over. And we're fogged again. This whole time that it's really rolling boil. Woo, hot. Woohoo! Almost there. Now you can make apricot jam or jelly. You can make apricot jam or jelly without pectin, but you're going to have to boil it for like 30 minutes to an hour. So if you don't happen to have pectin on hand, that's one way to do it. But it's so much more time consuming, and especially if you're doing this in the heat of the summer, the less time you have to spend doing it, the better. Right, so this made 10 half pints, and then I have almost another full half pint that I will just put in the fridge. Alright, I'm going to put a towel in the center so that the bottles don't rattle around. You take this, put it down. Bring that to a boil. If it isn't, and water bath can it for 10 minutes. Okay, there we go. 10 beautiful jars of jam. Now for the next batch. Alright, so there we go. 22 jars, half pints of apricot jelly, and then I have all this left just to can as apricots. But that will be a different video.